Hi, I'm Joy Green. I work for the Columbus Urban League in a reentry program called Choose to Change. I assist the male population when they come home. I help them with employment, get their ID, try to adjust, work on some soft skills, cognitive behavior. I'm married. I have 4 children, 6 grandchildren. I'm a homeowner. I actually bought my home through a home buying program. And I live on a court, and I know all my neighbors. They have elected me to be the block watch captain. I think, back in the past, I was probably going through a depression. And instead of seeking the proper help for that, I done alcohol and drugs and then lost my job. So I still needed the alcohol and drugs. So I committed some robberies of mom and pop stores. Didn't want to hurt anybody and didn't want to be hurt. So I didn't, have a gun. I actually, most of the time, just flashed my wallet and then put it back in my pocket. And just the shock of that, didn't put my hands on anybody, but that's labeled as, that labels me as a violent offender. I actually served over 19 years in prison. Served 3 years first, didn't do any programming, just went in there, lift weights, played dominoes. I came home after the 3 years and the resources were not ready available and I didn't know where to go to get help. There was still that brokenness in me. Resulted back to using drugs and alcohol. Did some more crimes. So I had to serve, actually pleaded out to 16 years, which was 10 years and 2 gun specs, and I didn't even have a gun. So I kind of had to see the parole board, so I broke my time down into 5 years increments. And for the first 5 years, I programmed fixing what was broken inside of me. I said, when I get out of here, I said, I'm gonna buy me a house, give me a job, be the best employee I could be. I'm gonna get me a house, I'm gonna start me a business, I'm gonna get married, I'm gonna be good to my family. So, and that's what I'm doing. I really think what would be helpful, programming has to start within. Corrections has to be more about rehabilitation.
My name is Marcia White, and I am a survivor of domestic violence. I work at Impact Community Action, and I work with young people, but I also worked with people who were just coming home from prison, jail, or a halfway house. And so I worked with batterers as a survivor, which challenged me to be who I say I am, and people really getting a second chance. And I facilitate a curriculum called Love Notes, The Art of Loving Well, and it deals with developing and maintaining healthy relationships. Because at 19 years old, going into that marriage, I could have identified that it was unhealthy, going to be unhealthy. In 1983, the term domestic violence had not even been coined. It's actually laws, nothing was in place to protect women and children. Families would take me with my 3 children in and hide us. So we stayed in people's basements and attics. My husband's father worked for the mayor at the time. And so sometimes when I would go and file charges against him, he would beat me home. So he was never held, he was never arrested, he never went to jail for anything that he ever did. I shot and killed my husband in order to save my life and the lives of my children, because he had told me for years he was going to kill my children, then kill me, and then kill himself. And that particular Sunday, it was evident that he came, kicked in my door, and that's what his intent was. So I'm very passionate about people understanding that sometimes violence is situational. I was blessed enough not to be arrested or charged with his murder. I did stand before the grand jury who deemed his death a justifiable homicide. Why? And there's so many other women that are incarcerated for committing the same act of self-defense or doing life sentences bewilders me. Incarceration for women, especially women who have children, it affects her life generationally. It will leave a long-term effect on those children as they go into their adult life and as they learn how to parent and as they learn how to stay committed and stay with their children. So it's a generational wound.
My name is Eddie Slade. I'm a restored citizen. I work at Impact Community Action. I work directly with reentry. I work with people incarcerated and people that's home going through reincarceration programs, empowerment service programs. I'm engaged in the community and I'm a navigator for Franklin County. When I'm not doing all of that, I'm basically at the park right here where I'm at now. I do a lot of reading here. This is where I get my focus, and I walk here a lot to get my cardio going on. I have a lovely wife. I attend the church. I got incarcerated in 1975. I didn't go through any programs. There was no reentry services for me. All I did was adapted to prison life, and when I came home after being paroled, I brought prison home to the streets with me. And as a result of that, the first altercation I had, I carried it to a prison standard, and I committed a murder. And then I went back and I was sentenced to life, and I did 31 years. I wasn't respecting myself. I wasn't respecting no one else. And the sad part about it is I didn't know that I wasn't respecting myself. I didn't know that I was conditioned to live a certain way. Well, being that I was doing life, a lot of stuff that's available for people in level 1 and level 2 was not available to me. Once I became a level 2, that's when therapeutics became available to me. You get pulled up and you have to start practicing good deeds. It teaches you how to be responsible, how to be accountable. It teaches you about pride and quality. It teaches you about compassion. And I needed that sternness, I needed that strictness, and I needed to know what life was really about versus penitentiary, because like I say, after 28 years of doing it my way, trying to do it another way was, kind of hectic at first. You had CBT classes to help you with tools to where you can cope, and it was a very powerful process. But it crippled me in the aspect of when I came home, I didn't have no skills. I didn't have no transitional skills as far as I didn't know how to use a phone. I didn't know how to use a computer. I didn't know how to do a resume. I didn't know how to do a cover letter. I was handicapped. Everything that you need to do to get a job, I wasn't able to do it. So I feel that they should equip everybody with transitional skills, with knowledge, to where when they come home, they can fit right in and won't be a burden to society, but be able to give back and help other people.
My name is Tracy Van Sickle. I do have some vanity issues being here on film today. I fell into the edge of a wooden TV stand and I ruptured my eye. So this is the result of a 4th operation to try to get me back on track. I've been home for 12 years. I haven't had so much as a traffic ticket. I am active in my church. I'm active in a civic association. I participate in Restored Citizens and Communities for Change, that group. I'm very active in trying to help our society and to help the people coming out of prison get that second chance that they need. The way I got to prison was that I killed my batterer after some years of extreme abuse. I couldn't prove that it was self-defense at the time that I killed him. So unfortunately, I went and spent 12 years in prison. Many battered women are, number one, killed in the act of leaving because they're losing control of the woman. But they also have these threats. In my case was that they would, if anything happened to him, they would come and kill not only me, but my family. I'll tell you, when I went home, I still was very frightened of my safety. I had a name picked out that I was going to change my name to so it'd be harder to find me. And these are just some of the things that battered women go through. I had to go get a driver's license so that I could get around, and yet it was scary to have my address logged anywhere. Once I did that, I went around, I interviewed for jobs, and I would try to talk really fast so they couldn't interrupt me before I got to the end of it. This was self-defense. And actually, I interviewed 3 companies the first time I went out, and all 3 companies called me back and offered me jobs. Coming home, my brother and my mother came to get me, and all I did not want to go to a restaurant. I just wanted to go home, watch the birds in the backyard, and drink real coffee. But as we drove up the street, the most amazing thing happened. So many of my neighbors that I had wondered for years while I was in prison whether they'd ever have me in their homes again or trust me, came out into the street and welcomed me with open arms and hugged me and cried with me. And it was just surreal. I never expected anything like that, and I'm sorry, it tears me up every time I think about it.